Well, folks, I don't know what you've done on Friday nights for the last several months. I'm not sure how you've managed to survive it, but have no fear, no worries. We're back. Alongside Mike Maahs, the play-by-play voice of your Fort Wayne TinCaps, my name is Peter Hood. For those of you that are new to the segment, this is called TinChattin, where each and every week during the baseball season, Mike and I break down all things TinCaps baseball. And Mike, it is, although it doesn't feel like baseball weather, I could take about 30 or 40 more degrees than what we got right now. It's good to be back talking TinCaps baseball and ready to get this season started.
Well, let's preface this for our viewers. We're actually taping this on Thursday night after the 2019 season opener.
It's about 25 degrees.
And game time temperature was 42 with the wind chill of 33. And that was at 7 o'clock. We're taping this now near 11 o'clock, 4 hours later. And we are both freezing like crazy, but we're going to have fun doing it. And what a way to get the season started, Peter. A 3-0 win over Lansing, 3-0 shutout win over Lansing. Quartet of pitchers allowed just 8 base hits, and opportunistic, taking advantage of an error in the bottom of the 6th inning to get a 2-run rally started, getting an insurance run in the 7th. And initially there were 4,000 fans here at the start, not that many at the end. But a good start as the TinCaps improved to 17-10 all-time in season openers. And in some ways, it's hard to believe this is the 11th season of Parkview Field, 11th season the team's known as the TinCaps, and the 27th season overall as a member of the Midwest League. But getting it off to a nice start tonight really was nice.
And we'll get more in depth with the opener here a little bit later, but first, Mike, I want to delve into just the team as a whole, because obviously this is the first time we've been able to sit down and discuss the roster, which just came out a few days ago prior to the season beginning this evening. When you look at the roster, obviously you and I are both still familiarizing ourselves with some of the names on this list, but just like there has been for the last several years, a lot of talented names on this list. You mentioned Ryan Weathers. He's obviously one of them. Xavier Edwards, another one comes to mind. Blake Hunt. A lot of guys on this list that are on the top 30 prospects in the Padres organization, which obviously we know is the #1 farm system in all of minor league baseball at the current time. So when you look at the roster as a whole, I guess what kind of things jump out at you as you look ahead to this 2019 season?
The first word that comes to mind is youth. If you look at this 25-man roster as it stands right now, 9 of the 25 are either 18 or 19 years old. So a little bit of math, 9 out of 25, that's 36%, over a third of your roster are still teenagers. And it's something we've become accustomed to the last 2 years, in 2017 and 2018.
That was some good quick math by you, by the way.
Don't ask me how I did it, because I don't know how I did it. But, you know, the TinCaps have had the youngest team in the Midwest League in each of the last 2 years. I do not know, and I hate to say it, but you do not know if they're the youngest this year. But you've got 9 teenagers, so that's a good start. And I think this team has confidence. And, of course, I'm selfish and I'm lucky. I get to talk with Anthony Contreras, and I did tonight, or Thursday night, for our pregame show. And he said one of the things he noticed in spring training, this group seems to be close-knit right off the get-go. And it's a confident team. It's a young team, but a confident team. And, yeah, you've got, you know, you talk about Ryan Weathers being the 7th overall pick in 2018, and Edwards a top draft pick, and some of the others. It's only one game, yes, but you can see why the Padres invested in them.
Yeah, and, you know, you mentioned some familiar faces on the roster this year, a lot of new faces, which is par for the course with minor league baseball. You're always going to have a lot of roster turnover. One somewhat familiar face to this team that came back from last year, Ryan Weathers. We saw him make a few appearances last year, albeit all those games that he pitched in were on the road. So Thursday night was his Parkview Field debut. But Ryan Weathers, to be able to come out, obviously, in his first appearance of the season, and he just looked comfortable to me, Mike. I mean, he just looked like he was in control. And I know we're going to talk about his stat line, but the thing that jumps out to me, no walks. To be able to come out here in this sort of weather, something that he's not quite used to pitching in all the time, and to be able to have that kind of control and not walk a single batter, that was obviously encouraging to see. But what was your perspective on the outing from Weathers and just what you like about him in general as a pitcher?
The first thing I asked Anthony in our pregame chat was, what are you expecting from Ryan? And he said, to be his competitive self. And he was here briefly at the tail end of last year, pitched 9 innings in total. But yes, he is comfortable. I mean, Vanderbilt is probably ruining the fact that Ryan Weathers was going to go there, and as did Xavier Edwards was also going to go to Vanderbilt, and each of them decided to turn professional instead. But Ryan Weathers was confident tonight, right from the get-go. 5 innings, no runs, scattered 6 hits, got into a couple of jams where there were 2 runners on base and less than 2 outs, got out of the jams, and as you said, no walks on a night like Thursday, and 9 punch-outs. Reminded me a little bit of Nick Margavicius at Lake County a year ago. And you stop and think, and I know it's a long ways off, Nick Margavicius pitching with the parent San Diego Padres and pitched 5 scoreless innings in his major league debut. And Weathers, a lot of similarities, guys who battle. Ryan didn't really seem like he was troubled at all by the cold weather and the winds. His job was to get batters out. And though he scattered 6 hits, that's exactly what he did.
Of course, with Ryan, I mean, the stage isn't going to bother him. You know what I mean? I mean, when you grow up with a dad who pitched 15-plus years in the major leagues, pitched in big playoff games, actually has, I believe, is top 20 all-time in Major League Baseball in games, in appearances. You're not going to phase that kid. I mean, he's got the pedigree, and personally, I was a big David Weathers fan growing up as a Reds fan, one of the many teams that he pitched for. So, cool to see his son. I guess they seem like they have the same sort of temperament. I mean, they just don't get rattled. And I know it's early; he's only pitched 1 game this year, but he just seems to have a confidence about him, just like his dad had.
An oddity of sorts. David Weathers was originally drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays.
There you go.
The Lansing Lugnuts are the Midwest League affiliate of the Toronto Blue Jays. And so I thought that was kind of unique tonight. And you're right, David, there is one difference. David was a right-hander, and his son is a southpaw. But I think the same thing, and we'll talk about this during the course of the summer as well. When you have sons of former big leaguers that are trying to either emulate or do or improve on what their fathers did, and I'm thinking of Fernando Tatis Jr. as one, and I think of Ryan Weathers as 2, where their dads had success at the major league level and so forth. So I think Ryan's trying to follow suit as what his dad did. They're both pitchers, and I think the future is bright.
And the future is bright indeed, and the future is bright for us, not only because as I'm looking straight ahead, there's a very bright light shining in our face, but also TinChattin is back. We are back, baby.
And we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun summer here in 2019.
I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you this. I'd like to think we have a lot of fans out there of this segment, but none bigger than my mother, Angela Hood, who every week, I think this winter, has asked me, when is TinChattin coming back? When do I get to see Mike again?
Well, tell her I said thank you very much.
Well, she's watching.
Oh, hi there, Mom. And we got some text tonight, and I'm thinking back now, and I didn't get to say hi. One of the things I love to do is give shout-outs, and I'm thinking there are some people I wished I had said hi to that I'll make a point to say hi to, and thank them for their support of TinCaps baseball.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to a great season. Mike, great to be back with you, my friend, and hopefully when we chat next week, it's a little bit warmer.
It's your turn to set the bonfire next week if it's not.
I'm going to have to go shopping for that, but we'll see what we can do. He's Mike Maahs. I'm Peter Hood. That'll do it for the first edition of TinChattin 2019. Of course, we'll have much more for you next week, and we'll have much more coming up in the locker room right after this break.